the nutritional importance of macronutrients and micronutrients. As the name suggests, macronutrients are taken in larger quantities, whereas micronutrients are as important as the macronutrients, but they are taken in very small quantities. And of course, the importance of balanced diet and dietary goals throughout our life during our different phases and during disease states, and of course, the nutritional disorders. The nutritional disorders does not mean that we will be the disorders which are pertaining to undernutrition. Now we have a very upcoming disorder of overnutrition. We'll discuss all that in these two sessions. One thing. Okay, sorry for the interruption. So, what is nutrition? Nutrition is a science or the science or study of food which deals with qualitative as well as quantitative requirements of food. So, what we mean by that is not just that quantity is important, the type of nutrition or the type of food that we are taking in is equally important. Qualitative and quantitative requirements of food. And why do we need food? We need good food or nutritious food for proper growth and development, for maintenance of healthy tissue, and for various metabolic and physiologic processes. And what are nutrients then? Nutrients are the components of diet which are necessary to sustain normal functions of the body. They should be able to provide enough energy and compounds that we can live our life, we can have a healthy life and a healthy body. And of course, they are classified as macronutrients and micronutrients, depending upon the quantity that we are taking in. These are the essential nutrients that we have to take every day in a balanced amount. First and the foremost and the most important is water. Why? Because water, we are two-thirds part of us is water. Water is an integral part of our life. There's energy required for various metabolic and physiologic processes. Then the active nutrients, amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins. Energy will come in the form of carbohydrates. We have amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, and of course the dietary fibers, which were not given importance in the past, but now dietary fibers are an important part of our nutrition. So how do we categorize nutrition? Ideally, the nutrition should be ideal or optimal, not be either under or both under and over nutrition can lead to disease. How do the various environmental or physiological or psychological factors affect a person's nutritional state? They can be the factors can be biological, psychological, social, or even stress therapeutical. Under biological, we have the phenotype, age, gender, and the type of metabolism a person has. The amount of energy expenditure a person has will also define one's nutritional state and of course psychological state. now? Am I audible now? Is it better? Someone? No? There is still disturbance? Abhi? Better? Is it better? Anyone? Phenomenal. Who's phenomenal? यार इतना जोर जोर से बोल रही हूँ मैं. No? Still the voice is, the volume is low? I'm almost shouting now. Volume is too low. What am I supposed to do now? Okay, give me 1 sec. Sorry? Still low? Not audible. अभी अभी आ रही है? Sorry? Sorry? Is it, the volume is okay or I'm still faint? Will this volume do? Will this volume do? Or am I supposed to shout? I am so sorry. Okay, bachcho, thank you so much. Nothing great I have said up till now. Slides तुमने देख ही लिए हैं? You have seen the slide? These are the important essential nutrients, and these are the 3 states of nutrition. Best will be the ideal or optimal nutrition, and if not, if we can't achieve an ideal or optimal nutrition, then definitely there will be disease state. There will be either undernutrition or overnutrition. Okay, okay. So this is the slide on which we got stuck. So these are the factors which affect nutritional state. Most important, which we can't actually change, are the biological factors, the genotype of a person, age and gender, and depending upon all these, the metabolism of a person. But yes, by certain lifestyle changes, we can overcome our such problems also. Then the type of energy expenditure also reflects on the nutritional state. If a person is a laborer and he's not eating a proper nutritional diet which has lot of energy, he'll always be in a state of low energy. Similarly, psychological problems like a person, whether he has desire to eat, whether he has enough appetite, and whether the food is palatable or not. That is also an important factor in nutrition. Then social factors like people staying in certain places, they might not have all the kind of foods available to them, or they are, especially in India, we have certain cultural and regional customs which may hinder proper nutrition. And then, of course, presence and absence of a disease, because if there is a disease present, then it will definitely affect a person's nutritional state. So now, what are the importance of diet? We will be talking about nutrition for the next couple of lectures. Then we should know what is the importance of diet. So the primary function of diet. Why do we eat food? Why anybody eats food? Basically, to get energy in the form of ATP, so that we can do all our physiologic and metabolic processes, and for growth and development. Because for every synthetic pathway, you require energy in different forms. Also, energy is required for maintaining the basal metabolic rate, meeting the SDA. Now, SDA is specific dynamic action of food. We will be studying in a short while. I will tell you what is SDA in detail. And again, SDA can come as a short. So be more attentive when we are talking about BMR and SDA. And of course, energy is required for all kinds of physical activities, even the normal basal activities, you require energy. Even when you are sleeping, energy is being expended for normal metabolic processes, even for the brain activity. Even while sleeping, brain is using some ATP. So we require ATPs all the time, 24/7. And those ATPs will be coming definitely from our diet. The special conditions like growth, pregnancy, convalescence, lactation, disease state, post-disease state, all these conditions will require extra nutrition to get back to our normal self. And most important, written last but not least, maintaining our body temperature. We are warm-blooded people. We need to maintain our temperature at a particular degree. Whatever be the weather, we need to maintain our temperature. So that energy is required. ATP is required. Now let's see what is the calorific value of different food items. When we eat food, they are oxidized in our body. Oxidized means they are burned in our body and they give out some amount of energy. So that is called the calorific value of a particular food item, and it is defined as the amount of heat energy obtained by burning 1 gram of a food item completely in the presence of oxygen. जो हमारी बॉडी में हो रहा है वो तो हो ही रहा है, वो भी ऑक्सीजन की प्रेजेंस में ही हो रहा है ना. जो इलेक्ट्रॉन ट्रांसपोर्ट चेन में अल्टीमेट जो फाइनल बर्निंग है जो फूड की, वो ईटीपी में हो रही है ऑक्सीजन के साथ, और एटीपी प्रोड्यूस हो रहे हैं, है ना. This is done in vitro by using a instrument. Let's see in the next slide. Units of this calorific value or energy produced by burning 1 gram of food item is called calorie. And how do we define calorie? I'm sure this has been done in school. Just a recap for you. So calorie with a small c is defined as the amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 15 degrees Celsius to 16 degrees Celsius. Please, C stands for Celsius. सेंटीग्रेड पुराने जमाने में करते थे, आजकल हम इसको सेल्सियस बोलते हैं. ठीक है. So calorie, 1 calorie is the heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water from 15 to 16 degrees Celsius. And since it's a very small unit, we generally talk about 1000 calories, also known as kilocalories, and they are represented by a capital C. Small c is calorie, and it is defined like this. Big C is kilocalories, which is 1000 calories. So this is big C is kilocalories. an instrument called bomb calorimeter. Please look at the spelling. Don't confuse this with the colorimeter, which is used to measure the intensity of a color during colorimetric experiments. That is COLO colorimeter. This is CALO calorimeter, which is measuring the amount of calories given off from a particular food item. The calorific value of different nutrients is as follows. Again, this will be a recap, but this is important now for you. You should know how much of calories are given off by 1 gram of carbohydrate or lipids or proteins or even alcohol. Carbohydrates give off 1 gram of carbohydrate will give. Please appreciate the capital C here. 4.1 kilocalories per gram. Lipid on complete oxidation will give off 9 kilocalories per gram of fatty food. Proteins will give 4.3 kilocalories per gram, and alcohol will also give calories, 7 kilocalories per gram of alcohol. But this alcohol is giving, these calories are known as empty calories. They are not accompanied by any vitamins or minerals. Ingestion of alcohol will give us energy, but that is all empty energy. It does not, if we eat food to get energy, food will also bring vitamins and minerals along with it, which are important for nutrition and for optimal nutrition. But alcohol will only give empty calories, not accompanied by vitamins and minerals. So as you can see, lipids can give off the maximum amounts of energy per gram. So going to the next related topic, basal metabolic rate. Basal metabolic rate, or BMR, is the amount of heat given out by a subject under basal conditions amount of heat given out by a subject under basal conditions in unit time, which is 1 hour, and per square meter of body area. And this is the energy which is required to carry out the normal body functions at basal conditions. Okay. So for an adult healthy male, the BMR is generally 34 kilocalories to 37 kilocalories per square meter per hour, and for an adult healthy female, it will be slightly lower, 30 kilocalories to 35 kilocalories per square meter per hour. So the average for an healthy adult will be 24 kilocalories per kg body weight per day. This is per day. Okay. ये है पर स्क्वायर मीटर पर आवर में, बट जो हम एवरेज दे रहे हैं, this is 24 kilocalories per kg body weight per day. This is the amount of energy required for maintaining the basal metabolic rate. So 50 to 70% of the daily energy expenditure of a person is due to the BMR. And BMR is measured by a closed circuit method using a Benedict-Roth basal metabolism apparatus. Okay. And what are the basal or standardized conditions under which the BMR is measured? The person whose BMR we are going to check or measure should be lying awake, should be reclining in a state of maximal physical and mental rest. This is a little hard to achieve. Maximal physical and mental rest. Mental rest कहाँ से होगा? तो फोन पकड़ लेते हैं हम, या कुछ करने लग जाते हैं, नहीं तो सोचने लग जाते हैं, तो mental rest है. But the person has to be under mental rest. And of course, he should be comfortable, and the conditions of temperature, pressure, and humidity should also be comfortable. And generally, BMR is measured 12 to 18 hours after almost fasting level. And of course, no drinking or smoking is allowed during this time. So, to maintain all these basal conditions, the BMR is generally measured first thing in the morning after 8 hours of sleep and 12 hours of fasting. तो इसका मतलब हुआ कि अगर हमें किसी का BMR measure करना है तो the person has to be admitted a day before in the hospital. हम तो hospital में ही करेंगे ना, तो ये ideal settings नहीं होती है generally. So to avoid this kind of condition कि पेशेंट को हमें एक दिन पहले एडमिट करना पड़ेगा, वो हॉस्पिटल में रहेगा, तो वो आइडियल कंडीशन तो नहीं है. So somebody came up with a switch to the metabolic rate, and that is known as the resting metabolic rate, RMR. It is a little different from the basal metabolic rate. How? Because यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है, हम क्या देख रहे हैं, energy expenditure, that is the number of calories which are burned in 24 hours, maintaining the basic body functions and conducting small amounts of physical activity like eating and drinking. So, as again the basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of heat given out by a subject under basal conditions in unit time and per square meter of the body area. The resting metabolic rate is the amount of calories burned or the energy expenditure in 24 hours, maintaining basic body functions and conducting small amounts of physical activity like eating and drinking, and it can be measured during any time of the day following 3 to 5 hours of fasting. मतलब इसमें फास्टिंग है, पेशेंट आ सकता है, उसको एडमिट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. It is a slightly less stringent condition to measure the metabolic rate of a person. Since the conditions are less stringent, definitely it will be the value which will we get will be slightly different from that we get for a BMR, which is measured under a very strict condition, stringent condition. So it is about 3% more than the actual value of BMR. That is why we have the terminology is different for this. This is resting metabolic rate, whereas BMR is the basal metabolic rate, which is measured under slightly more stringent conditions. Resting metabolic rate is measured in less stringent or normal conditions. Okay, what are the factors which affect the BMR? Age and gender, body surface area, body temperature, climate, exercise, nutrition, special conditions, pathological. Age and gender कैसे? Males have higher BMR as compared to females. क्योंकि males have a higher lean body mass. अब lean body mass क्या होता है? Lean body mass होता है which is free of fat. So definitely the muscle mass a male has is generally more than a female. So females have more of fat. Fat content in a lady in a female is more as compared to a male. So lean muscle mass of a male is higher than that of a female. So that is why the BMR of a male will be higher as compared to a female. Age का क्या है? As we grow older, the muscle mass or the muscles they get replaced by fat. So with age, our lean muscle mass goes down. So BMR goes down. बॉडी सरफेस एरिया जितना ज्यादा बॉडी सरफेस एरिया होगा उतना ज्यादा BMR होगा. इससे बच्चों का बॉडी सरफेस एरिया एज कम्पेयर टू देयर वेट इज हायर. दैट इज व्हाई स्मॉल बच्चे जो होते हैं they have a higher BMR as compared to adults. Toddler, talk about toddler. Body temperature, higher the body temperature, more will be the BMR. अगर किसी को फीवर है तो उसका BMR जो है वो बढ़ जाएगा. क्लाइमेट से कैसे होगा? कोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट होगा तो क्या होगा, वी नीड टू मेंटेन आवर टेम्परेचर, so there will be shivering, that will expend energy. Shivering causes ATP expenditure, so PMR will increase. Similarly, exercise, जब हम एक्सरसाइज करेंगे तो क्या होगा, we will be sweating. Sweating जब होती है तो ATP रिलीज, ATP कंज्यूम होती है, so PMR will increase. Nutrition, over nutrition will increase the PMR and under nutrition or starvation will decrease the PMR. ठीक है, बट यहाँ पे एक catch है. Generally we say malnutrition will increase PMR. So एक special kind of malnutrition होता है जिसको हम cachexia बोलते हैं. We will be talking about cachexia towards the end of my lecture, maybe tomorrow. Cachexia is decrease in weight gain or decrease in body mass due to certain pathological conditions, certain metabolic conditions like cancer, like tuberculosis. They cause excessive decrease in body mass, cancer, but वहाँ पे उसमें क्या हो रहा है, अब तो बेटा कुछ भी नहीं है, कोई बैकग्राउंड नॉइज नहीं हो रही है यहाँ. Everything is fine. I don't know why I'm not audible. Anyway, आप सुनाई दे रहा है? Okay. So nutrition, as I told you, we will undernutrition will decrease the PMR and overnutrition will cause rise in the PMR. Malnutrition will cause a decrease in the PMR, but cachexia will increase the PMR because of the cytokine levels which increase during cancer cachexia, and that will cause a higher PMR, which will further lead to आप लोग okay. Now special conditions like pregnancy will of course increase the PMR. क्यों करेंगे pregnancy में PMR increase? एक तो mother का PMR, fetus का PMR, दोनों का PMR मिल जाएगा तो PMR will increase. Certain pathological conditions like hyperthyroidism, इसमें क्या होता है? Person is agitated. तो thyroid hormones क्या कर रहे हैं? They increase the PMR. अगर ज्यादा थायराइड हार्मोन होंगे तो they will increase the PMR. ठीक है? तो ऑपोजिट क्या होगा? हाइपोथायरॉइडिज्म. हाइपोथायरॉइडिज्म मतलब थायराइड हार्मोन्स की डेफिशिएंसी हो रही है, तो पीएमआर विल डिक्रीज. अदर मेटाबॉलिक कंडीशंस लाइक कुशिंग सिंड्रोम एंड एडिशन सिंड्रोम, उसका ऑपोजिट. कुशिंग सिंड्रोम में क्या हो रहा है? देयर इज इंक्रीज इन दी कॉर्टिसोल लेवल. कॉर्टिसोल लेवल इंक्रीज होते हैं. यही प्रॉब्लम कैकेक्सिया में भी होती है. कैकेक्सिया में भी कॉर्टिसोल लेवल, स्ट्रेस में कॉर्टिसोल लेवल बढ़ जाते हैं. कॉर्टिसोल लेवल बढ़ जाते हैं तो पीएमआर इंक्रीज हो जाता है. तो कुशिंग में क्या हो रहा है? कॉर्टिसोल लेवल हाइपर एड्रेनलिन हो रही है, तो कॉर्टिसोल लेवल इंक्रीज हो रहे हैं तो पीएमआर विल इंक्रीज. एडिशन में क्या हो रहा है? कम हो रहा है, वो हाइपो एड्रेनलिन है, तो कॉर्टिसोल लेवल्स कम हो रहे हैं तो पीएमआर भी कम. ठीक? एनी प्रॉब्लम विद दिस? ओके. मेरे को तो ना डर ही लगता रहता है, तुम लोग अभी भी कुछ छाप दोगे ग्रुप पे. मैं बार बार ग्रुप ही देखती रहती हूँ. पढ़ाने के बदले मैं आई एम मोर इनटू द बायोकेमिस्ट्री एमबीबीएस ग्रुप देन व्हाट आई एम सपोज्ड टू बी टीचिंग यू. Okay, so अब हम why have we talking about PMR for the last 5-10 minutes? Because it is important. When there was the direct estimation of thyroid hormones was not possible, this was the only way to assess thyroid function. ठीक है? अब तो खैर जरूरत नहीं पड़ती है थायराइड फंक्शन के लिए, because we have direct estimation of thyroid hormone. We can estimate TSH, that is thyroid stimulating hormone, and free T3 and free T4 can be directly estimated. So this point is a little redundant, but since these are expensive tests and not available everywhere. So maybe कहीं दूर दराज कहीं छोटी जगह पे PMR is still being used to assess the thyroid function. But mostly it is used for calculation of calorie requirements of an individual and to see the effect of different food items and drugs on PMR. ये research purposes के लिए basically research purposes के लिए use करते हैं. Okay, now coming to the next important topic, which is specific dynamic action. Again, it can come as a short note, so be attentive and you should be. अभी भी सुनाई नहीं दे रहा? अभी तो दे रहा है ना? Okay, so what is specific dynamic action or SDA? It is the extra heat which is produced by the body over and above the basal levels during digestion and absorption of food. Okay? This is the extra heat produced over and above the basal heat which is produced during digestion and absorption of food. मतलब हमने कुछ खाया तो उसका digestion absorption में भी ATPs use हो रहे हैं. तो वो heat भी तो हमें take into account करनी है ना. When we are talking about calorie requirements, we have to take into account the energy expenditure during PMR to maintain the PMR and the energy expenditure done during digestion and absorption of food. This is also known as the thermogenic effect of food or diet-induced thermogenesis. Okay? And as you can see, almost 5 to 10% of the total day energy expenditure of an individual per day is due to SDA. Different food items have different values of SDA. For example, carbohydrates have 5%, lipids have 15%, proteins have 30%. So proteins have the maximum SDA. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? They require maximum amount of heat for digestion and absorption as compared to lipids, and सबसे कम चाहिए होता है carbohydrates. खाते हम सबसे ज्यादा है carbohydrates, उसकी digestion absorption के लिए expenditure सबसे कम. But we can't be having individually all these things. Generally, we are on a mixed diet of all these three. So, a person who is on a mixed diet will have 10% of energy. मतलब 10% of its total energy expenditure per day will be due to the specific dynamic action of food. Now, physical activity is another important factor which determines the energy requirement of an individual. Depending upon the extent of physical activity, individuals can be grouped into 3 or 4 categories like sedentary or light category of physical activity, moderate activity and heavy physical activity. So here you can see light activity में कौन कौन लोग आते हैं? Office workers, lawyers, teachers, shop workers and doctors. ये गलत है ना? Doctors कहाँ पे light activity होती है? सारे टाइम doctors भागते रहते हैं, especially these junior doctors. So I would not agree with this, but yes, doctors like me who are senior and may not be running around as the younger ones may come under light type of physical activity. But definitely junior doctors, especially the interns and the postgraduate students, they definitely come under the moderate physical activity. Okay, now under moderate physical activity, we have students like you people, industry workers and housewives. Housewives do a lot of work at home. Of course, you should be thankful to them because they maintain your mama घर पे होती है जो वो सारा घर का काम संभालती हैं, सब कुछ करती हैं, so they require a lot of energy for that. And of course, the heavy physical activity will be the agricultural work, mining, labor, so सड़क बना रहे हैं, कुछ कर रहे हैं, blacksmith, and these all have heavy physical activity. Okay, now let's see, as doctors, you might have to, वैसे तो करना नहीं पड़ता है, dietitians होते हैं इस काम के लिए, but you never know, you might have to do it for a special person or maybe a dietitian is not available, you have to come up with a diet plan for a patient of yours. You might have to do this. Let's see how you can calculate energy requirements for an individual. तो क्या क्या चीजें हमें ध्यान में रखनी है while calculating the energy requirement of an individual, the BMR of that person. उसमें हम क्या ऐड करेंगे? The type of physical activity and the energy requirement for digestion and absorption of the food that we are taking. ठीक है? तो BMR का जो हमने एक फॉर्मूला देखा था 24 into body weight per day. नहीं, हमने डेली रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए कर रहे हैं तो मैं यहाँ से डी हटा दूँ. ये पर डे. सेडेंटरी लाइफस्टाइल जिसका भी फिजिकल एक्टिविटी में है उसमें बीएमआर का जो 30% है वो हम उसमें ऐड करेंगे. 30% ऑफ बीएमआर इज द एनर्जी रिक्वायरमेंट फॉर अ पर्सन हु हैज सेडेंटरी टाइप ऑफ फिजिकल एक्टिविटी. पर्सन हु हैज मॉडरेट type of physical activity, we will add 40% of the BMR, and for a heavy worker, we will add 50% of the BMR to the when we are calculating the energy requirement. And a person, if that person is on a mixed diet, we will add 10% of these two to the total energy requirement. If that person is on a mixed diet, and if that person is pregnant or undergoing lactation, we will add an additional 300 kilocalories per day to the basic requirement for pregnancy, and during lactation we will add about 500 kilocalories. Please appreciate the capital C here. 500 kilocalories per day to the basic requirement. This is the formula that we will be using, and this is how we will calculate. This is an actual example. Calculate daily energy requirement for a 55 kg adult male doing moderate work on mixed diet. Generally हम सब mixed diet ही खाते हैं ना, कोई specific तो है नहीं कि खाली प्रोटीन खाएंगे या खाली कार्बोहाइड्रेट ही खाएंगे या खाली फैट ही फैट खाएंगे. तो everybody generally is on a mixed diet. तो 55 किलो का adult male है, so 24 into 55 comes out to be 1320 kilocalories. ठीक है, यहाँ मैंने किलो कैलोरीज लिख दिया. अब इसमें हम फिजिकल एक्टिविटी इज अ मॉडरेट वर्कर, तो उसमें हम 40% ऑफ बीएमआर ऐड करेंगे. बीएमआर कितना है? 1320 का 40% ये है. ठीक है, 520 वो हमने ऐड कर दिया. 1320 प्लस 528 इज 1848 किलो कैलोरी. इससे मैं तुम्हें दिखाने के लिए किया कि appreciate the capital C and the small c. Okay? अब इसमें BMR plus your physical activity में हम FG ऐड करेंगे which is 10% of this, that will be 180. ठीक, तो टोटल कितना हो गया? 1848 plus 184 is 203032. तो हम राउंड ऑफ करके 2050. ठीक है, so this is the total caloric requirement or energy requirement of a 55 kilogram adult male doing moderate work. इस हिसाब से आप एक हेवी वर्कर के लिए भी कर सकते हैं, फीमेल्स के लिए भी कर सकते हैं. तो प्रेग्नेंट होगा, कोई लेडी प्रेग्नेंट है विद मॉडरेट वर्क, कंडीशंस आपको दी जाएंगे तो उसमें आपने बस वो ऐड करना है. प्रेगनेंसी में आपने 300 किलो कैलोरी ऐड करना है फाइनल रिजल्ट, और लेडी हु इज लैक्टेटिंग उसमें आपने 500 किलो कैलोरीज ऐड करना है फाइनल एनर्जी. ठीक है, ठीक चल रहा है ना? अब तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. वॉइस की ऑडिबल नॉट ऑडिबल की. ओके, द नेक्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक इज respiratory quotient, also known as respiratory exchange rate. How do we define the respiratory quotient? It is the ratio of volume of carbon dioxide produced by the body to the volume of oxygen consumed during a given time. RQ is equal to carbon dioxide produced upon oxygen consumed. and it is measured using a respirometer. अब ये क्यों कर रहे हैं हम? It, what does it do? It indicates the type of macronutrient being metabolized. The RQ value of an individual will tell us the type of macronutrient the person is metabolizing for energy production. So RQ of a normal adult on a mixed diet is 0.85. कैसे पता चलेगा हमें? कार्बोहाइड्रेट्स हैव एन RQ of 1, मतलब जितना ऑक्सीजन कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं उतनी ही कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं. ये इक्वेशन है ना, ग्लूकोज है, ये इसको ऑक्सीडाइज कर रहे हैं और ये बन रहा है. ठीक है, तो 6 मॉलिक्यूल्स ऑफ ऑक्सीजन आर बीइंग यूटिलाइज्ड टू प्रोड्यूस 6 मॉलिक्यूल्स ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड. So CO2 upon O2 will be 1. So if we are having predominantly more carbohydrates, our RQ will be towards 1. But lipid का सबसे कम है. क्यों सबसे कम है? Because fats are highly reduced molecules. ठीक है, they are highly reduced molecules, so they require more oxygen for getting oxygen. Am I clear? कार्बोहाइड्रेट का तो आपको दिख ही रहा है, ये 6 ऑक्सीजन मॉलिक्यूल्स यूज हुए और 6 ही कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड मॉलिक्यूल्स प्रोड्यूस हुए. आरक्यू बन गया 1. बट लिपिड का 0.7 है और प्रोटीन का 0.8 है. वो भी एम्पिरिकल होता है बिकॉज प्रोटीन कांट बी ऑक्सीडाइज्ड कंप्लीटली, सो इट इज अ एम्पिरिकल वैल्यू फॉर प्रोटीन. बट लिपिड का क्या है? दे हैव द लोवेस्ट आरक्यू वैल्यू एंड द रीजन फॉर दिस बीइंग lipids are highly reduced molecules. They require more oxygen for complete oxidation. Fine. ठीक है, तो lipids have the least RQ value. अब ये तो हो गया इस तरह के हम डाइट खा रहे हैं, तो मोस्टली हम मिक्स डाइट खा रहे हैं तो हमारा RQ होगा 0.85. अगर इंटर कन्वर्जन हो रही है, मतलब अगर हम एक्सेस कार्बोहाइड्रेट खा के उसको फैट में कन्वर्ट कर रहे हैं या ड्यूरिंग स्टार्वेशन फैट इज गेटिंग कन्वर्टेड, गेटिंग ब्रोकन डाउन और फिर हम उसको ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस करके ग्लूकोज बना रहे हैं प्रोटीन से या ग्लिसरॉल से या लैक्टेट से, उसकी वजह से भी आरक्यू वैल्यूज डिफर हो सकती हैं. मस्कुलर एक्सरसाइज will cause conversion of different carbohydrate or lipid or protein into something else that will again affect the RQ. Now please, this is important. Increased fat utilization causes a decrease in the value of RQ. है ना? फैट कम करता है ना RQ वैल्यू. तो अगर हम ज्यादा फैट यूटिलाइज करेंगे तो RQ वैल्यू कम हो जाएगी. जैसे मैंने बोला था डायबिटीज मेलाइटिस में या स्टार्वेशन में क्या हो रहा है? फैट ग्लाइकोलाइसिस हो रही है. ठीक है, ग्लाइकोलाइसिस हो रही है तो हम फैट यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं फॉर एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन, तो फैट इज गेटिंग ऑक्सीडाइज्ड. So you need, for oxidation of fat, you need more oxygen. More oxygen will be taken in, less of carbohydrate, carbon dioxide will be released, or you will decrease. Right? No problem till now. मैं फिर ग्रुप में देखती हूँ, आ तो नहीं रहा, मुझे तो डर लग रहा है कि कुछ अभी डालोगे कि मैम कुछ समझ नहीं आया, कुछ सुनाई नहीं दिया. ऐसा तो नहीं है ना गौरी? सब सुनाई दे रहा है? Okay, now the interesting part of RQ, the application of RQ. Why we were talking about RQ is because it was observed. Thank you so much. I love you, dear. Okay. It was observed by certain clinicians that in COPD, now what is COPD? Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. उसमें क्या होता है? Bronchi are obstructed. There's a lot of energy required for respiration. ठीक है, तो एनर्जी यूज होती है, एटीपी यूज होते हैं जस्ट फॉर ब्रीदिंग इन एंड ब्रीदिंग आउट, रेस्पिरेशन. प्लस अगर हमारे खाने की वजह से भी हमारे जो आरक्यू, अगर आरक्यू ज्यादा आ रहा है मतलब कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड ज्यादा बन रहा है, तो लंग्स तो ऑलरेडी कॉम्प्रोमाइज है इस समय सीओपीडी में. लंग को ज्यादा काम करना पड़ेगा to dispel that CO2 which is being formed due to oxidation of the food that we are eating. समझ में आया ये? जो भी हम खा रहे हैं उसकी कंप्लीट ऑक्सीडेशन से CO2 बन रहा है और हमें पता है कि अगर हम फैट खाएंगे तो सबसे कम CO2 बनेगा, राइट? और अगर हम खाली कार्बोहाइड्रेट खाएंगे तो सबसे ज्यादा CO2 बनेगा। तो COPD पेशेंट में ऑलरेडी पल्मोनरी फंक्शन कॉम्प्रोमाइज है, उसको सांस तो वैसे नहीं आ रही है, तो CO2 की वैसे भी उसमें एक्युमुलेशन हो रही है, राइट? तो अगर ऐसे इंडिविजुअल्स इफ दे आर ईटिंग मोर ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट तो ऑक्सीडेशन के बाद CO2 भी ज्यादा बन रहा है, तो उसको भी निकालना है, प्लस जो नॉर्मल मेटाबॉलिक इफेक्ट की वजह से जो CO2 बन रहा है वो तो बन ही रहा है। So this was observed by increasing fat in their diet. The patients who have COPD, if we increase fat content in their diet, the RQ is driven down, causing a relative decrease in the amount of CO2 produced. Right? So this reduces the respiratory burden to eliminate the CO2, thus reducing the amount of energy which is spent on respiration and the amount of effort which is spent on respiration. Am I clear? So this is like a part of a treatment for them to increase fat in their diet and consequently decrease the carbohydrate content. Okay? So by doing this, we will reduce the burden of the production of CO2 and reduce the burden to eliminate the CO2 from the system. In a way, we are helping such patients to breathe easy, right? Second application है underfeeding lowers the RQ, whereas overfeeding will increase the RQ. मतलब कम खाएंगे तो स्वस्थ रहेंगे, है ना? ज्यादा खाएंगे तो प्रॉब्लम है। ओवरफीडिंग से क्या होगा? लाइपोजेनेसिस हुई। अंडरफीडिंग से क्या होगा? फैट स्टोर ब्रेकडाउन, तो आरक्यू कम हो जाएगा। ज्यादा खाएंगे तो आरक्यू बढ़ जाएगा, तो CO2 को डिस्पेल करने के लिए ज्यादा काम, राइट? और ऐसे करने से आपका वेट भी इसी पे बेस्ड ना सर्टेन डाइट है, वी विल टॉक अबाउट वेरियस डाइट हैज, इसी चीज पे बेस्ड है। देयर आर सर्टेन डाइट्स लाइक कीटो डाइट एंड ऑल दैट एंड एटकिन डाइट व्हिच हैव हाई कंटेंट ऑफ फैट एंड प्रोटीन एंड लो कंटेंट ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, so that we can lose weight by doing this. But they have problems. We'll discuss them later. Okay. These are the three topics which are important part of nutrition, and I have dealt with those three topics and they can come as short notes. I hope you have understood them. Okay, now let's go further. We will talk about the proximate principles, the macronutrients. Why are they nutritionally important? Okay, so nutritional importance of macronutrients, carbohydrates, fats and proteins are the macronutrients because we take them in larger quantities. They are also these three are also known as the proximate principles, as they are the basic component of diet required for survival. Survival के लिए तो ये तीन ही चाहिए ना। उस समय फ्रूट मिल रहा है नहीं मिल रहा, we don't care. जब खाना खाना तो लगता है दाल रोटी सब्जी खा लो, सब्जी हो तो अच्छा है, तो दाल रोटी तो खाई है ना। So these are the three proximate principles and they are essential for survival. Now we will tackle all these three one by one. Let's start with the carbohydrates. These are the primary source of energy for the body, and they can be. Please go back to your carbohydrate chemistry. They are classified as monosaccharides, disaccharides, and polysaccharides. You know the difference. I'm not going to talk about that. Sources of carbohydrates are grains, potatoes, vegetables, sugar, fruits, honey, etc. यहाँ पे आपको पता है कौन सा मोनोसेकेराइड दे रहा है, कौन सा डाइसेकेराइड दे रहा है, कौन सा पॉलीसेकेराइड, ठीक है? Now the important point about carbohydrates is 60 to 70% of the total energy requirement must come from the carbohydrates, especially the complex carbohydrates. And the second most important point is the minimum daily intake of carbohydrates should not be less than 50 to 100 grams. क्यों? अभी देखते हैं क्यों हमें इतना कार्बोहाइड्रेट डेली खाना चाहिए, इससे कम नहीं खाना। क्या होता है अगर हम इनसफिशिएंट कार्बोहाइड्रेट खाएंगे तो दैट विल कॉज कीटोजेनेसिस। कीटोजेनेसिस कैसे होगी? लेस ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट मतलब हाइपोग्लाइसीमिया की तरफ जाएंगे, स्टार्वेशन जैसे कंडीशन होंगे तो क्या होगा? लाइपोलिसिस होएगी। लाइपोलिसिस होएगी तो एसिटाइल कोए एक्यूमुलेट होगा। एसिटाइल कोए एक्यूमुलेट होगा। एसिटाइल कोए का क्या मेजर क्या फेट है? दो फेट है, ये दोनों माइटोकॉन्ड्रिया में ही होते हैं। या तो टीसीएस साइकिल चलेगा या कीटोजेनेसिस चलेगा। टीसीएस साइकिल नॉर्मली क्यों चलता है? क्योंकि एसिटाइल कोए को किसके साथ कंबाइन करता है? ऑक्सैलोएसीटेट के साथ। ऑक्सैलोएसीटेट के साथ कंबाइन करके वो सिट्रेट बनाता है। अगर ऑक्सैलोएसीटेट इज द लिमिटिंग फैक्टर बिकॉज यू आर नॉट ईटिंग इनफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, एसिटाइल कोए will accumulate and will go in for ketogenesis, will lead to ketoacidosis, starvation like condition। दूसरा क्या होगा? लाइपोलिसिस तो हो ही रही है, की वजह से ये होगा अगर हम कार्बोहाइड्रेट इनफ नहीं खाएंगे तो देयर विल बी डिग्रेडेशन ऑफ बॉडी प्रोटीन्स फॉर ग्लूकोनेओजेनेसिस व्हिच इज एन एब्सोल्यूट नो। दिस शुड नॉट हैपन। Lipolysis is still okay. Balanced kind of lipolysis is still okay to lose weight, but इतना हम अपने को स्टाफ करें कि बॉडी प्रोटीन ब्रेकडाउन होने लगे, दिस इज नॉट डन। कंप्लीट नो नो। बॉडी प्रोटीन ब्रेकडाउन होके ग्लूकोनियोजेनेसिस करेंगे, दिस इज दिस नॉट डन, राइट? तो insufficient carbohydrates may lead to ketogenesis, leading to ketoacidosis, metabolic ketoacidosis, and if not taken, if not any corrective action is not taken, then there will be degradation of body protein। कहाँ से निकलेंगे? मसल में से निकलेंगे ना, for gluconeogenesis, which is the most important gluconeogenic amino acid, alanine। Yes, I know you people know that. Okay, so the average requirement of carbohydrate so that this does not happen, ketogenesis or body protein breakdown should not happen, for that we require almost 400 to 500 grams per day। ये नॉर्मल है और ये मिनिमम है। इससे कम खाएंगे तो ये हो, ये नॉर्मल अमाउंट में खाना चाहिए। So a person who is looking for a weight reduction regime should be in between these two values, between this and that minimum, this is the maximum। As you can see here, carbohydrates have a sparing action on protein। बिना कार्बोहाइड्रेट खाएंगे तो बॉडी प्रोटीन ब्रेकडाउन नहीं होगा for gluconeogenesis। Okay, so the recommended energy requirement from carbohydrates is नहीं, ये total energy requirement है per day के हिसाब से। For a healthy adult male, it is range is 23 to 3100 kilocalories, average is 2900 kilocalories, and for a healthy adult female, it is 2200 kilocalories, range being 1600 to 2400 kilocalories। For pregnancy and lactation, you need to add 300 and 500 kilocalories respectively to the average requirement। Okay? Okay, now categories of carbohydrates. We just can't go on having glucose or sugar as a form of carbohydrate. Why? Let's see why we need to know the types or the categories of carbohydrates. They can be categorized into available or digestible and non-available and non-digestible carbohydrates। ठीक है, नाम से समझ में आ रहा है जो हम डाइजेस्ट कर सकते हैं और जो हम डाइजेस्ट नहीं कर सकते। क्यों नहीं डाइजेस्ट कर सकते? बिकॉज ऑफ दी type of the bonds present in certain carbohydrates. Digestible में कौन से bonds होंगे? Yes, you're right. You have alpha linkages. It can be 1,4 and 1,6 anti-branch. But non-digestible में beta linkages हैं, क्योंकि हमारा जो amylase enzyme present है, it cannot break down the beta linkages. Amylase can only break down the alpha linkages. Okay. As you know, the carbohydrates that we are eating are the chief source of energy for the body. And what are the sources of these carbohydrates? What are the types? What are the types of carbohydrates? Yes, starch, glycogen. Glycogen को हम और भी क्या कहते हैं? It is also known as animal starch. Glycogen is also known as animal starch. हम starch को plant glycogen नहीं कहते हैं, बस glycogen को animal starch कहते हैं. कहने की जरूरत नहीं है, but कह सकते हैं. Interesting point. Okay? And the various monosaccharides. I'm sure all of you are rattling off all the monosaccharides in your dimag. Please do that and then come back to the next point is, what about the non-available carbohydrates? ये तो available carbohydrates थे, जो starch, glycogen और monosaccharides में present है, which we can digest because they contain alpha glycosidic linkages and amylase can happily act on them. There are certain non-available or non-digestible carbohydrates which are complex carbohydrates such as dietary fibers because they cannot be further broken down. पहले इनको हम बेकार समझते थे, जंक मानते थे कि बेकार हम खा रहे हैं, कोई फायदा नहीं इनका, but now they have suddenly come up, they have become the stars of our nutrition and they have certain beneficial effects on our body. Example of these dietary fibers is cellulose, hemicellulose, pectin, lignans and scum. Okay, before I go any further with the type of carbohydrates, let's talk about the important index known as glycemic index, and it is a relative ranking of carbohydrates in the present in various food items according to how they affect the blood glucose levels after absorption. जो खाना खा रहे हैं और जिस खाने में फूड आइटम में टाइप ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट प्रेजेंट है, वो आफ्टर डाइजेशन एब्जॉर्प्शन किस हिसाब से ब्लड ग्लूकोज को इफेक्ट करते हैं, उसकी रैंकिंग हम करते हैं ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स. इट इज द रिलेटिव रैंकिंग ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट इन द फूड आइटम्स दैट वी आर ईटिंग according to how they are affecting the blood glucose level after absorption. This is assessed by performing a glucose tolerance test, GTT, oral glucose tolerance test, after a particular diet and comparing it with a reference meal. और जो reference meal क्या आएगा? 50 grams of glucose, जो छट से absorb हो जाता है. Digest तो करना नहीं है उसको, छट से absorb हो जाता है और तुरंत जाके वो blood glucose levels को बढ़ाएगा. ठीक है, वो है reference meal. उसके अगेंस्ट हम अपना फूड आइटम का कार्बोहाइड्रेट असेस करते हैं. नहीं, 50 ग्राम से तो जीटीटी करते हैं और उसके अंदर जो जीटीटी कर्व बनाते हैं और जो एरिया उसके अंदर आता है वो देखते हैं. तो एरिया अंडर द ग्लूकोज टॉलरेंस कर्व आफ्टर ईटिंग 50 grams of pectin over area under the glucose tolerance curve after having 50 इसको तो खाना ही है ना, या बोल के पानी में पी जाना, after having 50 grams of glucose. ठीक है, and of course glucose will have a GI value of 100. तो तुरंत ही absorb हो जाता है. ठीक है ना. So simple sugars have high glycemic index, whereas complex carbohydrates have low glycemic index. And obviously जो भी food items का glycemic index low होता है, हमें वही खाना. We don't want our sugar to be suddenly risen just after having the food. It should rise slowly and it can be retained for a longer time. Okay. Now this is a chart which is showing food items having different glycemic index. ठीक है, ये जो पॉइंट है ये इनके ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स. लो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स फूड जो कौन सा होता है जिसकी ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स लेस देन 55 होती है. मीडियम जीआई फूड्स आर having glycemic index between 56 to 59, and foods having GI of more than 70 come under foods having high glycemic index. So as you can see, these are having low glycemic index. White rice, even whole wheat bread, muesli, baked potatoes, oatmeal, they all have very high glycemic index. ये देखो, दिख रहा है? On the other hand, जो सब्जियां हमें कतई पसंद नहीं है, जो हम बिल्कुल नहीं खाना चाहते हैं, उन सब का देखो कितना अच्छा ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स है, 15, 15, 15, all are 15. Wow. Some charges, against us. Nobody wants to have asparagus and broccoli, celery. ऊपर तो खा लेते हैं, lettuce में तो कीड़े होते हैं, पता नहीं. Peppers, exotic peppers you like with having in pasta, but pasta itself will have a high glycemic index. Why? Because of the amount of fat you are adding to it and the amount of maida you are adding to it to make the sauce, pasta sauce. So that will affect the glycemic index. Even so, it's good to add a lot of vegetables to it so that you can bring down the GI glycemic index of that particular food. Fruit maybe if you have different. Banana has a high glycemic index, mango has high, even pineapple has high, watermelon तो कमाल ही हो गया है ना. जो अच्छी वाली चीजें हैं उन सब का बढ़ जाता है. But never mind, you are young, you are active, you should be in the moderate physical activity or heavy physical activity doing workout. Then you can have all this, no problem. Then protein. Protein have generally food items which are rich in protein. They generally have low glycemic, as we see here. Except the last two, which you may not want to have, right? Okay. अब ग्लाइसीमिक इंडेक्स के बारे में बात की तो एक और टर्म आ गई ग्लाइसीमिक लोड. ये क्या बला है? तो ग्लाइसीमिक लोड इज कंबाइंड both the quantity and the quality of carbohydrates, and it is the best way to compare blood glucose values after consumption of different types and amounts. So how do we calculate glycemic load? कैसे calculate करते हैं? GI into the carbohydrate content of that portion. कोई पर्टिकुलर फूड है, उसका उस पर्टिकुलर फूड में कार्बोहाइड्रेट कितना है, उससे हमारा ग्लाइसेमिक लोड निकलाता है डिवाइडेड बाय 100. तो भी एग्जांपल बता दूं मैं. An apple has a glycemic index of 38 and it contains 13 grams of carbohydrate. So you multiply 38 by 13 and divide by 100, you get 5. तो ग्लाइसेमिक लोड का 5 ही है. ठीक है, वैसे भी ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स ऐसे तो बहुत नहीं है, लो ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स के कैटेगरी में ही आ रहा है एप्पल, मगर ग्लाइसेमिक लोड तो बहुत ही कम हो गया. लेस देन 10 मींस वेरी गुड. बट अ पोटैटो हैज अ वैसे भी ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स का हाई में आ रहा है एंड इट कंटेन्स 14 ग्राम्स ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, तो इसका ग्लाइसेमिक लोड हो गया 12. तो इफ यू कंपेयर एप्पल एंड पोटैटो, नॉर्मली कहते हैं कि एप्पल मत खाओ, बनाना मत खाओ, डायबिटिक्स को कहते हैं आलू मत खाओ. समझ में नहीं आता क्यों कहते हैं कि आलू तो कॉम्प्लेक्स कार्बोहाइड्रेट है, बट ग्लाइसेमिक लोड 12 हो गया उसका. पोटैटो विल हैव ट्वाइस द ग्लाइसेमिक इफेक्ट ऑफ एन एप्पल. ठीक है, इवन दो एप्पल इज स्वीट बट इट हैज फ्रक्टोज, राइट, मगर उसका ग्लाइसेमिक इफेक्ट जो है वो हाफ हो गया. So glycemic load of a food can be again classified as low, medium and high. जैसे हमने glycemic index को classify किया था low and medium high. इसमें क्या है? Low is 10 or less, medium is 11 to 19 and high is 20 or more. So according to this, even potato is in the medium category, whereas according to the GI, it is in the high glycemic food category, right? So glycemic load of a mixed meal or diet can be calculated by summing together the glycemic load values for each component. For example, अगर ब्रेकफास्ट में आप 20 बिस्किट खा रहे हैं, उसका ग्लाइसेमिक लोड 15 है, हाफ कप ऑफ मिल्क ले रहे हो जिसका ग्लाइसेमिक लोड 4 है, और 2 चम्मच चीनी भी डाल दी, बेटा 4 चम्मच चीनी डाल के किया दूध तो 6 है, तो इसको ऐड करेंगे तो ब्रेकफास्ट में हमने 25 ग्लाइसेमिक लोड का डाइट खाया। ऑप्टिमल हेल्थ के लिए ये हम नॉर्मल इंसान की बात कर रहे हैं, डायबिटिक या कोई डिसऑर्डर, मेटाबॉलिक डिसऑर्डर के बारे में बात नहीं कर रहे हैं। डेली ग्लाइसेमिक लोड शुड बी अंडर, ये डेली ग्लाइसेमिक लोड है, मतलब ये एक मील का लोड है, ये 25 ग्लाइसेमिक लोड है। ऐसा पूरा इंटायर डे पे आप जितना खाना खा रहे हैं उतना से आप कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं। वी हैव चार्ट्स, दे आर अवेलेबल ऑन द इंटरनेट, वी हैव चार्ट्स फॉर डिफरेंट फूड आइटम्स। इफ यू आर रियली इंटरेस्टेड इन दिस, देन यू लुक फॉर ऑप्टिमल हेल्थ। बट खाली खाने से नहीं काम करना ना, यू शुड एक्सरसाइज आल्सो। सो द डेली ग्लाइसेमिक लोड फॉर ऑप्टिमल हेल्थ शुड बी 100 अंडर 100, I'm sorry, क्या कह रही हूँ, should be under 100. This is again start showing the glycemic index and the glycemic load for the iron. ठीक है, ये पीनट का ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स 14 है, ग्लाइसेमिक लोड 2 है। तो बेसिकली अगर हमें किसी फूड आइटम का ग्लाइसेमिक लोड इंडेक्स पता है तो जनरली उनका दे आर मैचिंग द ग्लाइसेमिक लोड। ठीक है, कई चीजों का नहीं होता है, जैसे आइसक्रीम है, आइसक्रीम का ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स मीडियम कैटेगरी में है, द ग्लाइसेमिक लोड 10 है। क्यों है ऐसा? क्योंकि आइसक्रीम में फैट डाला होता है, फैट कंटेंट होता है विच डिलेज द डाइजेशन एंड एब्जॉर्प्शन, so it delays the absorption of the monosaccharides from the ice cream part. So that is why the glycemic load is towards the low, less than 10 और less than 10 है तो glycemic load low कैटेगरी में आएगा ना, बट यहाँ पे ये मीडियम कैटेगरी में आ रहा है। ठीक है, more or less glycemic indices and the glycemic loads of food items they match. अगर glycemic index low है तो वो ग्लाइसेमिक लोड के भी लो वाले कैटेगरी में आएगा, बट समटाइम्स नहीं होता है ऐसा, तो यू शुड बी एबल टू एक्सप्लेन व्हाई। अगर फैट कंटेंट किसी फूड का ज्यादा है तो द डाइजेशन एंड एब्जॉर्प्शन विल टेक सम टाइम एज कंपेयर टू मोनोसैकेराइड और रिफाइंड कोई भी सामान, कुछ भी रिफाइंड खाना खा रहे हैं हम, दैट विल बी एब्जॉर्ब faster as compared to a complex diet, right? So अगर digestion absorption जल्दी हो रहा है, it is entering the bloodstream at a higher rate, तो glycemic index ज़्यादा होगा। अगर the digestion absorption is taking some time, slowly absorption हो रही है तो glycemic index भी low होगा, क्योंकि slow the rise of blood glucose will be slow as compared to something which is सिंपल। कॉम्प्लेक्स फूड होगा तो स्लो राइज होगा, सिंपल फूड होगा, रिफाइंड फूड होगा तो सडन राइज होगा। ठीक है, which should be avoided. Sudden rise in the blood glucose always be avoided by, there is a sudden rise in glucose. To counteract that, there will be sudden release of insulin from the pancreas, which will bring down the blood glucose levels, leading to hypoglycemia. So there will be multiple spikes and lows of sugar and insulin, which is not a good scenario for a healthy person. There should be slow rise of blood glucose. To counteract that, there will be slow rise in the insulin levels, which will not eventually lead to hypoglycemia, because hypoglycemia should not happen. Sudden hyperglycemia leading to sudden hypoglycemia, then again hyperglycemia, this is not good for our organs. So everything should be slow. So whatever we are eating should be such that it is absorbed slowly, leading to a slow and gradual rise in the blood glucose or other glucose or fatty acids. Whatever is entering the blood should be slow. Right? आगे चले. Okay, now we talk about my favorite topic, dietary fibers. Initially, they were thought as क्या भाई खाना पड़ रहा है चबा के इतना खाओ और कोई फायदा भी नहीं हो रहा है इससे हैं? They were thought as कि बकवास है बेकार है डाइटरी फाइबर्स क्यों खाने हैं नहीं खाने चाहिए वेस्ट में तो खाते ही नहीं हैं they were just eating non-vegetarian food without adding any vegetables and what happened they had a high incidence of colon cancer but then they realized and the Asia in the Asians or the eastern part of the world they are into vegetables, into fibers big time. So incidence of colonic carcinomas are very low in the eastern part of the world as compared to the western part of the world. So ये इसका फायदा है dietary fibers. Let's see. Let's talk about dietary fibers. They can come in the long short. Easily आ जाता है dietary fibers. कहीं ना कहीं Okay, what are dietary fibers? Non-digestible polysaccharides like cellulose, hemicellulose, lignin, pectin, gums, mucilages, etc. कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? They are the components of the plant cell wall. They cannot be digested, as I told you, due to the presence of beta glycosidic linkages. Amylase जो है वो सिर्फ alpha glycosidic linkages को break करता है, beta को नहीं करता. So they reach the large intestine where they are acted upon by now. This is action, drama. पूरी पिक्चर बन गई है यहाँ पे. OTT पे, where in the intestine these dietary fibers are acted upon by the colonic bacteria to produce lactate, hydrogen, and short chain fatty acids like butyric acid. Now, this butyric acid or butyrate has anti-inflammatory action in the gut. Again, a hero. And it reduces incidence of colonic cancer. Anti-inflammatory action by butyrate reduces incidence of colonic cancer. And the best part is it does not provide energy. जितना मर्जी खाए जाओ, कोई एनर्जी नहीं मिल रही इससे. वेट गेन का भी सवाल नहीं होता. Initially, as I told you, they were considered as nutritional waste, but now is an important component of diet. अब इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि खाना है तो दबा के खाए जाए नहीं. उसका भी एक लिमिट है. Daily requirement should not go beyond 20 to 30 grams per day. ज़्यादा खाएंगे तो उसका भी प्रॉब्लम है. ठीक है, ज़्यादा नहीं खाना है. Now, a little bit about the types of dietary fibers. Insoluble, there are three types mostly. Insoluble, soluble, and prebiotic. Probiotic तो सुना था ना, अब ये prebiotic fibers. Let's see. Insoluble fibers are, what will they do? They absorb fluids at bulk in the large intestine. These are like pectin, gums, mucilage, which are found in the plant cells. कहाँ से आएंगे? Whole grains, nuts, beans, seeds, root vegetables like carrots, beetroot, radish, fruits with edible seeds like kiwis, grapes, raspberries, and raisins. किवी खाते हो? खाना चाहिए, बहुत अच्छा होता है. And raisins, किशमिश, किशमिश खानी चाहिए. नहीं, किशमिश नहीं, raisins किशमिश कहते हैं, बट उसका सीड नहीं होता, मुनक्का होता है. मुनक्का सुना आप लोगों ने? पता नहीं. I don't know. आप बच्चे आपके घर में मुनक्का बहुत सही चीज है. किशमिश ऐसा होता है, उसमें छोटे छोटे सीड होते हैं, जब आगे खा सकते हो. मतलब ज्यादा नहीं खाओ तो पेट दर्द कर सकता है, बट जमाना जरूरी है. पता चला ऐसे निगल गए तो कहीं अटक गया तो एक प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगी, अस्पताल भागना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. Okay. Now, soluble fibers are like cellulose, hemicellulose, and lignin, which make up the structural part of the plant cell. Anyway, so what do? They collect the bile molecules, the metabolic waste products, the hormones, and the exogenous chemicals or toxins, and they collect all these. ये जो fibers हैं, ये collect कर लेते हैं सब चीजें in the intestine. तो उससे क्या करेंगे? They will eliminate it from the body. When the soluble fiber is lacking, waste products get reabsorbed in the intestine and then recirculated. ये सारा जो waste products हैं, they can be reabsorbed, recirculated through the body, which can cause problems. With soluble fibers, these particles can't escape the net. तो एक meshwork सा बना देते हैं, can't escape it, cannot be reabsorbed, they cannot be reabsorbed, and they will be eliminated as waste. क्या क्या है? Beans, peas, flaxseed, apples, psyllium, avocados, and nuts. बीन्स का यार हरी हरी बीन्स नहीं आती हैं, अच्छी लगती है, नो, मगर खानी चाहिए. सब कुछ खाना चाहिए in moderation. You can have your lasagnas and your pastas and your pizzas, you can have, but in moderation. ये नहीं ना सिर्फ यही खाओगे, ऐसा नहीं है। और जब खा रहे हो तो उसमें बहुत सारे फ्रूट वेजिटेबल्स ऐड कर लो, so that उसका ग्लाइसेमिक इंडेक्स भी कम हो जाएगा, और you have the fruit fibers also in this. प्रीबायोटिक फाइबर्स क्या होते हैं? तो जो सॉल्युबल फाइबर्स होते हैं ना, इन इसमें भी दो प्रकार के सॉल्युबल फाइबर्स भी दो प्रकार के होते हैं। They will feed the good bacteria in the GI tract to produce health-promoting compounds like short-chain fatty acids. As I told you, butyrate. Butyrate has anti-inflammatory properties, which decreases the incidence of colonic cancer. Sources of prebiotic fibers are bananas, onion, garlic, chicory root, मैंने सॉरी मैं उल्टा बोल गई। इनसॉल्युबल फाइबर जो होते हैं ना, सॉरी इनसॉल्युबल फाइबर जो होते हैं, दे कैन बी दे कैन बी फर्मेंटेबल और नॉन फर्मेंटेबल। जो फर्मेंटेबल होते हैं दे आर नोन एज द प्रीबायोटिक, because they get fermented and they give rise to lactate, butyrate, which will have anti-inflammatory, butyrate will have the anti-inflammatory effect, and coming from bananas, onions, सभी कहते हैं garlic, onion खूब सब्जी में डालो, कच्चा खाओ, garlic जो कच्चा खाना मुश्किल है, but if you can have, गांधी जी used to have garlic, पानी के साथ निकल जाते थे, ठीक है? So if you can have, it's good, but then you smell the whole day and not a very pleasant feeling. But if you can have these, add them to your food, they will have the effect nevertheless. Okay. Now, benefits of having the dietary fibers, जो कि मैंने अभी तक बोला था वो मैंने यहाँ पे points लिख दिया है. It contributes to the bulk of the intestinal content and promote intestinal motility. In other words, they reduce the incidence of constipation. तो कॉन्स्टिपेशन है उसको बहुत सारा फाइबर खाना चाहिए, पानी भी बहुत सारा पीना चाहिए, बहुत सारा नहीं खाना चाहिए, आई टोल्ड यू इन लिमिट, दैट विल हेल्प इन इंटेस्टिनल मोटिलिटी एंड prevent constipation. Increased fiber content of the diet will reduce the incidence of colonic cancer. As I told you, the biochemical mechanism मैंने आपको बताया। जो भी अनडाइजेस्टेड फाइबर्स जो इंटेस्टाइन में जाएंगे, जो गुड बैक्टीरिया हमारी कोलोन में रेजाइड करते हैं, they will act upon them, they will break them down into lactate and hydrogen and butyrate, which is which has anti-inflammatory properties, will reduce the incidence of colon cancer. High fiber content slows down the stomach empty, right? Thus delaying and attenuating the sudden rise in blood glucose mostly. जब delaying और attenuating होएगा ग्लूकोज का, ब्लड ग्लूकोज का, तो इंसुलिन का रिलीज भी ऐसे attenuated रहेगा. तो incidence of hyperglycemia leading to hypoglycemia again causing hyperglycemia will not happen. This vicious circle will not happen. अच्छा ये बीच में आ गया. ओके, अभी हम बेनिफिट पे ही चल रहे थे, मैं बेनिफिट खत्म करके I'll get back to this. I'm sorry, ये मैंने बीच में डाल दिया. Okay, let's see this. Dietary fibers will lower the plasma cholesterol by binding to the bile acid and dietary cholesterol in the intestine, thus reducing the absorption. And I hope you remember that cholesterol having a steroid nucleus cannot be broken down further. You can slip off the side chain, but the classic cyclopentano per hydroxyphenanthine ring cannot be broken down. So the only way cholesterol can be eliminated from our body is through bile acids. Bile acids are getting directly going into the intestine. They are doing their work. You know, I hope you remember what work they are doing in the intestine. They are helping in the digestion of fat, and then they are excreted out. Small percentage undergoes enterohepatic circulation, but most of the bile acids are thrown out, and this is the only way of eliminating cholesterol from our body. So if we have a person who has high cholesterol levels, this is the way to reduce his cholesterol levels. बाइल एसिड बताते जाओ तो कोलेस्ट्रॉल और बनाता जाएगा, लेवल धीरे धीरे कम होने लग जाएंगे, राइट। तो ये डाइटरी फाइबर्स कैसे हेल्प कर रहे हैं इस काम में? They are lowering the plasma cholesterol by binding to the bile acids in the intestine and also to the dietary cholesterol. तो वो बाहर निकल जाएगा, this will be eliminated from the body, thus reducing their absorption, right? Also, fibers give a sense of satiety and fullness. पहले डायबिटिक्स के लिए कहते हैं ना, उनको पहले एक प्लेट सलाद पकड़ा दो सबको, खाने दो सलाद, उसके आधे घंटे बाद खाना खिलाओ, तो पेट भर जाएगा, तो रोटी कम खाएंगे, राइट। रोटी is carbohydrate, right? So fibers give a sense of satiety or fullness, thus preventing consumption of excess calories. Fibers retain excess of water, increasing the वो वही बात है जो पहले पॉइंट में बोली थी, increase GI motility and remove constipation. And of course, they help prevent absorption of toxic compounds. मैशवक बनाते हैं तो toxic compound उसी में घूम के रह जाते हैं, वो फिर absorb नहीं हो पाते। अब disadvantages भी हैं। If consumed in excess, they can irritate the intestinal mucosa, leading to diarrhea or gastric constipation. Both are very bad. Not a good thing to have. So should not be consumed in excess. अच्छी चीज है का मतलब नहीं है कि दबा के खा रहे, कुछ भी नहीं खाना। Everything has to be taken in moderation. Everything in our life should be done in moderation. मस्ती करनी है, बिल्कुल करो मस्ती, मतलब मॉडरेशन। पढ़ाई तो करनी है, तो मॉडरेशन से थोड़ा और आगे लेके जा रहा है तो बेटर है। मस्ती करो, मॉडरेशन में करो, खाओ पियो, मॉडरेशन में करो, एक्सरसाइज भी करो तो मॉडरेशन में करो, एक्सेसिव कुछ नहीं करना। कुछ भी एक्सेस करोगे it'll have some detrimental effect. Anything done in excess will have a detrimental effect. ठीक है? That is one Rambam I'm giving you. Do everything except drugs, no marbitide, except that, do everything. Fine? Dietary fiber can bind to dietary minerals and vitamins, thus decreasing their absorption. ये एक छोटा सा पॉइंट है, बट अगर एक्सेस से हम नहीं खा रहे हैं डाइटरी फाइबर्स तो ये बहुत मिनिमल होता है, तो ये सब हमें मिल जाता है खाना, ठीक है। Okay, I'm going back to my slide which I had given. I just wanted to show you lignin is a very important dietary fiber, but the best part is lignin is not a polysaccharide. मैंने कई जगह पे lignin लिखा हुआ था, it's not a polysaccharide. What is it? Cellulose versus lignin है ये. Cellulose is the main substance which makes up the cell wall and fiber of the plant. ये organic substance है, acts as a binder for the cellulose fibers, adding strength and stiffness to the plant cell wall. But it is not a polysaccharide. Okay? Cellulose is formed of monomers of D-glucose forming beta-glycosidic lignin, whereas lignin is a monomer of para-fumaryl alcohol. It's an alcohol. It's a polymeric alcohol. Okay? It's a polysaccharide. It's a phenolic polymer. Straight chain polymer है cellulose, whereas it's an irregular polymer. Irregular है lignin. इसकी खासियत यही है. Cellulose is the main component of the primary plant cell wall, whereas it occurs as the thickenings of the secondary cell walls of fibers and vessels of the vascular tissue. No need to remember all this. I'm just showing it to you. याद मत करना ये, बस इतना याद रखो, lignin is not a polysaccharide. It's a alcoholic polymer, phenolic polymer. Phenolic मतलब phenyl group है, ठीक है? Constitutes 90% of the cotton fibers, wood and dried hemp. Mainly occurs in the wood and bark, and it provides rigidity to the plant. Only the gut of ruminant animals can digest. This is not digestible at all by anything in the world except nothing. It is not digested. Indigestible totally. ठीक है? इसके बाद मैं तुम्हें एक चीज और बता रही हूँ. Resistant starch. Starch which is resistant to digestion. Starch हम digest कर सकते हैं because it has alpha glycosidic linkages, but ये certain starch present in certain food items which is encapsulated cannot be taken up by the enzyme or the intestinal bacteria तो कर लेते हैं, वो बड़े हीरो टाइप, तो ये digest नहीं होगी because amylase will not be able to act because it is encapsulated रहेगा large intestine में, फूड में जाएगा, स्टार्च एंड डाइटरी फाइबर्स में, स्टार्च डाइजेस्ट नहीं होगा, रेजिस्टेंट स्टार्च लाइक fructose and fructooligosaccharides, but they can undergo bacterial fermentation, form short chain fatty acids, acetate, propionate and butyrate. These short chain fatty acids have anti-inflammatory effect, they have a prebiotic effect. The fermentable starch है, मगर amylase उसको break down नहीं करता. So they do not enter the bloodstream. The glucose, the breakdown part will be the glucose. ना अगर starch form breakdown करेंगे तो glucose बनेगा. But इससे glucose नहीं बन रहा, will enter the colon where bacterial fermentation will happen, will release these anti-inflammatory molecules which have a prebiotic effect, good for the gut. Not the कौन-कौन से food items है जिनमें resistant starch होती है. Lentils, even white rice has. Rice तो हमारा staple diet है ना, इंडिया में तो staple diet है. Good for us. ज़्यादा नहीं खाना. Green bananas, unripe bananas, sweet potatoes, legumes. All these are very, very good sources of resistant starch, which gives us immunity against, not immunity, as protect against carcinoma and other inflammatory bowel disease. I hope I'm audible still. मैं लिपिड स्टार्ट थोड़ा सा लिपिड ये करके फिर आई स्टॉप. हम प्रोटीन्स और डिसऑर्डर्स जो है वो हम कल एंड वेरियस डाइट प्लान. ओके, लिपिड्स आर lipids. You know what are lipids? They provide energy, they are carriers of fat soluble vitamins, and along with carbohydrates they have a protein sparing action. as जब तक मैं जिंदा हूँ मैं तुम पे तुम्हारे बाल का बांका नहीं होने दूंगा, whatever the dialogue. तो जब तक कार्बोहाइड्रेट और लिपिड डाइट में है, प्रोटीन, बॉडी प्रोटीन आर नॉट यूटिलाइज्ड फॉर एनर्जी प्रोडक्शन, but lipids are also required for normal cell growth and development. Of course, lipids are required for brain development, myelin sheath, all these cells. सेल ग्रोथ होगी कैसे? सबसे पहले उसका मेम्ब्रेन बनेगा, और मेम्ब्रेन में क्या होता है? लिपिड होते हैं, राइट? बिना लिपिड के लाइफ इज अगेन नॉट पॉसिबल. एंड ऑफ कोर्स दे एनहांस द फूड पैलेटेबिलिटी, प्रोड्यूस सैटिस्फैक्टरी. दाल में घी डाल के खाओ कितना अच्छा लगता है, अच्छा लगता है ना, टेस्टी टेस्टी. लिपिड्स आर सोर्सेज ऑफ पॉलीअनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड्स एंड एसेंशियल फैटी एसिड्स. काइंड ऑफ सिनोनिम्स होंगी. Normal daily requirement is they should be providing 20 to 30% of the total calorie consumption. 10% each from saturated, monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids respectively. जब लिपिड खाना है, फैट खाना है, तो तीनों तरह का फैट खाओ. सैचुरेटेड भी खाओ, मोनोअनसैचुरेटेड भी खाओ और पॉलीअनसैचुरेटेड. एक्सेस खाएंगे तो ऑब्वियसली ओबेसिटी तो होएगी. Now let's see the dietary sources for these various fatty acids. Saturated का तो पता ही है, butter, ghee, palm oil, beef fat. Monounsaturated are the best bet. They are present in olive oil and mustard oil. Yummy, है ना? अचार में पड़ा होता है सारा mustard oil. और आजकल बहुत सारा खाना जो हमें mustard oil में ही बनाना चाहिए. Ufa or polyunsaturated fatty acids are present in sunflower oil, cottonseed oil, corn oil, soybean oil. Essential fatty acids like linoleic and linolenic acid. Arachidonic क्यों नहीं लिखा मैंने यहाँ? क्योंकि वो semi essential है. We can synthesize from linoleic, है ना? So linoleic and linolenic. Linoleic is present in corn and safflower oil. Linolenic is present in rapeseed oil, walnuts and leafy vegetables. अब हम यहाँ इतने सारे फैटी एसिड की बात कर रहे हैं, एक हमें और बात करनी पड़ेगी ट्रांस फैटी एसिड. This is the villain. This is the villain of our movie. Trans fatty acids are unsaturated fatty acids, but they have a trans configuration. These unsaturated, ये सारे unsaturated है ना, ये saturated. unsaturated fatty acids जो है जिनकी cis configuration थी. Please recall your lipid chemistry. की cis configuration होती है and they are good. But trans fatty acids में trans configuration होती है. And because of the trans configuration, because of this configuration, they are more prone to reactive oxygen species damage. Why are they bad? Because as I told you, एक तो damage करेंगे, दूसरा they behave like saturated fat and cause a rise in LDL cholesterol. They can also suppress the levels of HDL, which is supposedly the good cholesterol. Trans fat increase in our diet are linked to an increased risk for inflammation in the body, can lead to harmful health effects that like heart diseases, diabetes, stroke, and certain inflammatory diseases. This is the bad fat, the unhealthy fat, this is the healthy fat. Fat भी healthy है, कमाल हो गया ना? ये सब healthy fat. क्योंकि most of them will contain polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fatty acids. Small chain fatty acids, medium chain fatty acids, they're all good. Okay. Now, importance of dietary polyunsaturated fatty acids of PUFA. Dietary PUFA has, क्योंकि हम खुद तो बनाते नहीं है PUFA, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक बना लेते हैं बस. बाकी तो हमें खाना पड़ेगा ना बाहर से, तो they are essential to us. They are essential because we cannot synthesize. क्यों नहीं बना सकते? Please jog your memories and remember क्यों हम नहीं बना सकते unsaturated fatty acids अपनी body में. Okay, polyunsaturated fatty acids. कहाँ पे हम बॉन्ड लगना होता है और कहाँ से वाला बॉन्ड हम बना सकते हैं, कौन सा वाला बॉन्ड नहीं बना सकते. डबल बॉन्ड की बात कर रही हूँ. PUFA has a cholesterol lowering effect. They stimulate cholesterol excretion as bile acids, stimulate conversion of cholesterol into bile acids, also cause an upregulation of LDL receptors. Upregulation of LDL receptors matlab there will be increased uptake of LDL from the blood into the tissue. And the cholesterol esters of PUFA, इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? कोलेस्ट्रॉल की एस्टेरिफिकेशन होती है फैटी एसिड. जब कोलेस्ट्रॉल एस्टेरिफाई करता है PUFA के साथ, such a cholesterol ester can be rapidly metabolized by the liver and the other tissues. So they don't stay in blood for very long. ठीक. उसके आगे क्या? Essential fatty acids, they are precursors for eicosanoids in the body. You know that. PUFA is a component of phospholipids and forms biomembranes and maintain the fluid, the membrane fluidity and their rigidity. They all depend on the contents of cholesterol esters and the phospholipids. High intake of fish oil decreases incidence of CVD and the chronic inflammatory diseases. तुम्हें ये भी पता है कि fish oil में क्या होता है? Fish oil is rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Not going into the details, but it's an important question why doctors are recommending fish oil these days or dietary omega-3 fatty acids. Deficiency of essential fatty acids can cause dermatitis, immunoincompetence, anemia, thrombocytopenia, peripheral neuropathies, and growth retardation. And high intake of saturated fatty acids is associated with high incidence of CHD, that is chronic heart disease, and carcinoma, especially of the breast and the colon. Okay, this was about. Start कर दूं मैं ये थोड़ा सा. अभी 50 ही हुई है, तो बहुत सारी स्लाइड्स बची हैं बच्चों. Let's keep doing it till 1 o'clock. अभी 1 o'clock हुआ नहीं है, so let's keep doing this now. Okay, now coming to the last and the most important proximate principles, protein. They are required for synthesis of tissue protein and they are not meant for energy production. अगर हम proteins use कर रहे हैं energy production को, something is really wrong with the metabolism. Okay. Dietary proteins provide us with the 10 essential amino acids. And apart from that, they also provide the sulfur, nitrogen for the growth. क्यों next time? कल को 2 से 4 है, फिर तुम लोग थक जाओगे 2 से 4 में. अभी कुछ है क्या तुम लोगों का? 2 बजे से ही होगा ना? Let me finish till 1. I still have 7-8 minutes. I'll finish 2-3 more slides. Thank you. You are a darling, beta. Chal. Okay. So they provide 10 essential amino acids sulfur and nitrogen for growth and tissue repair. अभी तक अभी तक हमने कार्बोहाइड्रेट की बात की, लिपिड की बात की है, वहां पे भी हमने बात की कि क्वालिटी क्या है. क्वांटिटी इज इम्पोर्टेंट बट क्वालिटी ऑफ कार्बोहाइड्रेट, as I said, refined carbohydrate मत खाओ, processed carbohydrate मत खाओ, complex carbohydrate. लिपिड में भी अनसैचुरेटेड फैटी एसिड खाओ, राइट. यहाँ पे भी प्रोटीन की क्वालिटी इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्वांटिटी इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं. ठीक है, तो क्वालिटी ऑफ प्रोटीन कंज्यूम्ड इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. एंड अगेन reiterating, total energy derived from protein should not exceed 10 to 50% of the total energy requirement. Proteins are not meant for energy production, they are meant for all the other things. Protein, tissue repair, growth, everything. So, but अब there's a catch to this. ज्यादा प्रोटीन खाने से भी कोई फायदा नहीं होने वाला. Protein taken in excess of the daily requirement is degraded, nitrogen excreted as urea, and the carbon skeleton is used for generation of energy or for synthesis of fatty acid or synthesis of other amino acids. तो excess protein खा के भी कोई फायदा नहीं होने वाला. मसल्स बल्क अप नहीं हो जाएंगे जब तक आप एक्सरसाइज नहीं कर रहे. वो जो हाई प्रोटीन डाइट आता है ना, तो आप सोना हो जाओगे, मसल बन जाएंगे, यू बल्क अप. Not helping. If you're only taking those, it might have a detrimental effect on your kidneys because you will have to be excreting a lot of urea because वो तो प्रोटीन बेकार ही खा रहे हो. कि वो खाओगे तो एब्जॉर्ब होगा, एनर्जी और वेस्ट होगी एफडीए में, फिर वो ब्रेक डाउन होके यूरिया बन के फिर बाहर निकल जाएगा, तो किडनी बेचारी और परेशान होगी, यूरिया निकल जाएगी, राइट. So excess protein is not required, but daily exercise is required. Toning of the muscles is required, along with adequate amount of protein. Adequate, not excess. ठीक है? So recommended dietary allowance healthy adults में बहुत simple है. 1 gram per kg body weight per day. अगर आप 70 किलो के तो 70 ग्राम खाना है, 50 किलो के तो 50 ग्राम खाना है. एडिशनल रिक्वायरमेंट्स हैं तो वो ये नहीं. बच्चों में बिकॉज दे आर इन दी ग्रोथ पीरियड, उनके ग्रोथ हो रही है, बर्थ हो रहे हैं, दे आर ऑलवेज दे आर सो एक्टिव, किड्स आर सो एक्टिव, दे आर नॉट सिटिंग एनीवेयर, दे आर जस्ट रनिंग अराउंड. दे नीड 2 grams per kg body weight per day. Special conditions like pregnancy, lactation or convalescence, 2.5 grams per kg weight per day. Okay, now as I said, quality is very important. So proteins have been categorized as incomplete and complete, first class or second class, good or not good, bad. So what are complete proteins? Complete proteins are those which contain all the 10 essential amino acids in the right proportion. Example, egg, milk and soy. They all are required. अभी तक हम कहते थे egg is still the reference protein, but milk and soya are not behind. They are also having this almost the same kind of biological value in all those indices that we use to judge proteins on their quality. All those indices, they meet the same criteria. Milk and soya and eggs, they are almost at par. Incomplete proteins, on the other hand, they will be lacking on one or two essential amino acids, so they are not complete. And most of the vegetable proteins are like that. So the amino acids that are lacking in these incomplete proteins, they are called the limiting amino acids. Why limiting? Because they are limiting the growth of the individual. If a person is only having these vegetable proteins, there will be limit the growth. Because that person is not getting complete protein for the tissue repair and growth. So इसका क्या इलाज क्या है? If a person is having vegetable protein, तो है नहीं कि हम उसको कहेंगे अंडा खा. You can't force people, right? A person who is a vegetarian at heart will not start eating eggs just because he has to have a complete set of protein. No. So what do we do with that? We share the concept of complementary or supplementary action of food. There is a rationale behind combining certain food items and consuming them together. This is called complementary for supplementary action of food. ये आपको थोड़ा सा याद करना पड़ेगा, ये important है because there are certain food items in the vegetarian diet which are lacking in these amino acids. Like for example, meat, it lacks in lysine and sugar. All the cereals, they lack in lysine, but all the pulses, they lack in methionine. कुछ generalization है जो आपको याद करनी पड़ेगी, ठीक है? Maize is lacking in lysine and tryptophan. तभी आपको ध्यान होगा, you've had your vitamin lectures. So people who have maize and their staple diet will be deficient in tryptophan and may have lysine deficiency, like that, right? This is the reason because maize lacks in tryptophan. Legumes are low in methionine, so are fruits and tubers. They are lacking methionine. And gelatin, though it is a product of animal protein, it is an incomplete protein and is lacking in tryptophan altogether and low in tyrosine and cysteine. Cysteine तो वैसे methionine से बन जाता है, मगर फिर भी cysteine में और tyrosine में low है, ठीक है? So it's not a complete protein, though it is of animal origin, ठीक है? तो यहाँ पे जो मैं कह रही थी कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री सप्लीमेंट्री एक्शन ऑफ फूड, ये कैसे बनता है? हमारा इंडियन कुजीन जो है वो टेक्निकली बहुत साउंड है. इंडियन कुजीन, हमारा सुबह का ब्रेकफास्ट, लंच एंड डिनर, इट इज टेक्निकली very sound, and it is, especially the vegetarian cuisine, is based on complementary or supplementary action. Because in our Indian cuisine, we are combining two different food items which are lacking in certain amino acids. हम कैसे खाते हैं? दाल रोटी खाते हैं. दाल क्या होती है? पल्सेस. रोटी wheat से बनती है. Wheat is limiting on lysine and threonine, whereas pulses are limiting on methionine. अगर हम इन दोनों को मिला देंगे तो क्या होगा? ये दोनों कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री हो जाएगा ना, राइट? ऐसे ही फ्रूट्स एंड ट्यूबर्स, इसमें आपका गाजर आएगा, आलू आएगा, लेग्यूम्स हैं, पीस वगैरह आएंगे. दे आर लैकिंग इन methionine, बट wheat is not lacking in methionine. Not full with it is having methionine but lacking in methionine. They can complement each other, right? So these food items, when taken together, will complement each other and will ultimately form as a package, will form a good quality protein. Nutritional values of proteins can be found out by these various parameters. Let me do this. ठीक है, ये मैं कर दूं बस या छोड़ दूं? एक बच गया. स्टार्ट ही लेट से किया था ना. You'll have to give me extra time than tomorrow. I don't know how, because I have to finish with nutrition tomorrow. We cannot extend that. So you let me take it extra कल को. Yes or no बोलो. कल को अगर 5-10 मिनट एक्स्ट्रा हो गया तो चलेगा, because आज तो हम थोड़ा लेट ही स्टार्ट हुआ ना, ठीक है? यस मैम आ रहा है तेरा, सॉरी. ठीक है. फिनोमिनल कौन है भाई? नाम बताओ. फिनोमिनल कौन है? I like it. Who's phenomenal? Please write your name. No? Incognito रहना चाहते हो? चलो ठीक है. It's okay. Thank you so much. We'll meet tomorrow now. I hope it is an easy lecture. कुछ ऐसा कुछ समझने को रटने को नहीं है, but there are few interesting facts that you should be aware of. And I told you the important topics from the exam point of view. Plus, you should be doing all this as doctors. You should be needing all these information, because patients will come to you and will take your advice on the nutritional aspect of their life. Okay? Chalo. See you tomorrow. Bye.